Hey, good evening, Maria. Back with another video at 6:44 p.m. and it is Friday evening, and I am just got done taking my shoes off and kind of stretching out. I'm actually sitting on the floor. Obviously, there's a chair behind me, but sometimes it's just easier or nicer just to stretch out all your limbs on the floor, and it's a little bit more comfortable just sitting on the floor sometimes. Anyway, so I wanted to come on here and make this video. Today I want to talk a little bit about triggers, and I think as somebody who has been a targeted individual for over 2 decades, which seems ridiculous really when you think about it, but there are some people who have been targeted longer than that. And so there's times where you're going to encounter things in your life that are going to kind of set off triggers. Okay, triggers are flashbacks, moments of things that happen that remind you of like the very height of your targeting or whatever. And sometimes those things happen. And so when they do happen, you need to acknowledge that it's happening. And I think in the past, I don't really talk about my targeting or my human trafficking, gang stalking, domestic stalking issue. In when I say on the outside, like other than talking about it here on my channel, I don't mention it. Okay. But today I thought it was important for me to mention it because, people know that I'm not standoffish. I basically just want to handle the situation at hand, and I try to be as professional as I possibly can be. I think I'm friendly. Every once in a while, I might tell somebody like what do you call it? A kind of, I have a very dry sense of humor, but I'm still, it's an indication I'm in a friendly mood, okay? But I'm not somebody who's going to be out there, like if everyone's congregating in a certain spot, yapping and talking, I'm not going to be within that group yapping and talking, okay? Mainly because once you have been a targeted individual, you really do need to keep your distance. And I kind of explained that a little bit, and I did encourage them to kind of read up on the issue. And the reason why is because they're always going to have issues at work. There's going to be disagreements. There's going to be whatever. And so when sometimes, things are going to happen or they're going to come up and then they're going to ask you questions, and just the whole situation might seem a little bit perpy, and it might not be. Okay, but just based on your previous experience, you're wondering, okay, is this perpy? Is this constructive, or is this just perpy? And for targeted individuals, you know what perpy means. It means that certain people are in cahoots with the people that you used to know, and this whole thing is just getting way out of control for like really no reason. So sometimes those triggers happen, and it's not something that you can help. It's just something you're going to have to deal with. And then also you're going to have to explain your demeanor. I will say I do have a very different demeanor than most people, and mainly because a lot of it has to do with the targeting. Okay, but part of it is I've always had a different personality anyway, and that's one of the reasons why these people target me anyway. The perps that I'm referring to, that would be my son's biological father and his family and all these other people who I don't really know why they would join in on something like that. But whatever. These people who have affected my life in a very bad way. But my point is that I'm like really tired right now. Um, I don't understand like why. Hang on one second. Okay, so when you want to make sure that you feel safe. Okay, when you're a targeted individual and you've dealt with something as traumatizing as some of us have gone through, um, it it seems it's not going to be easy for other people to understand or relate to it. Not everybody has been targeted. Not everybody sees this issue from your point of view. Okay, they might think, well, well, this is someone she used to know. Sure, he messed up her job. Sure, he, basically bullied her. Sure, he financially exploited her. Sure, he was like, making up this pathological liar, made up all this stuff to make this woman suffer and didn't do anything, to stop it while she was suffering. He is a, what do you call it, psychopath or something along those lines, right? Anyway, whatever the case is, I was involved into something that I didn't want to be involved in. I was caught up in something that was extremely traumatizing. Somebody financially abused me. Somebody emotionally abused me by, me having to be continuously stressed out, trying to find a job, not knowing what I'm doing, and somebody sitting on the throne thinking that they had the right to do that. Now, for people who've done serious research in human trafficking as well as gang stalking, most people will notice that there's a certain personality that goes along with people who do this to another individual. And so obviously there's some sort of personality flaw in a person. If they're going to bully somebody, try to force their lifestyle on somebody, it's abnormal behavior. Okay. Now the bad part is that when you people start taking sides in, and I'm not saying this is what was going on at work. I'm just basically talking about how we deal with our triggers. Okay. Because you're always going to have triggers. This is one of the things that people don't understand, that there are side effects to dealing with this sort of trauma. And I know there's a lot of people who roll their eyes like, oh, that's not true. That's not true. It's exaggerated. I wish it were exaggerated. I really do wish it was exaggerated, because the mental impact of what this does to a person is enormous. I mean, I cannot stress it enough. And I know why it's illegal. I can tell you why it's illegal, and extremely disturbing on every level when you do not feel safe. Now, to people on the outside, these group of people, where they're friends or comrades, whatever, this is something they kind of threw together, and this is what they orchestrated, and they grew close together, and they bonded, and they're friends or whatever. So guess what? They're in this in crowd, and then I'm on this outside, right? And people have already chosen sides. That's the problem with gang stalking, because there's this bias that goes on in relationships that you formulate with people, because you're set up in this little environment, and then this person's, I don't know, what's the word for it? They're friends or whatever. They're getting along with these people, okay? They don't really know the whole story. And if they did know the whole story, their allegiance is with this particular person. So they're going to be willing to act out certain things, say certain things, participate in certain actions and behaviors that are going to cause trauma to the person who's already been traumatized over 20-something years over these same people. You see what I'm saying? It's like being in the middle of people who are friends with your ex-perps is not a comfortable position to be in. Okay, they put my life in danger. Not just, my life. I mean, I literally count down, like, how can I say count down? But I recognize how old I am. I recognize how old I am, and I realize I'm thinking about back in the 90s, these people were there fucking my shit up. I'm thinking, okay, and then I keep thinking, well, how old my son was 13 years old? When my son was 13, these people were at the height of fucking my shit up. Okay. And so I have really looked at this for what it really is. Now, from my perspective, and God knows I am not a racist person. I have a strong spirituality to where I don't want to be a part of this world issue, okay? But do I believe this was racially motivated? Yes, I do. Okay, and I believe that white people struggle with their racist biases sometimes act on those biases, even though they may not be Ku Klux Klan people, they do things that are very similar to the Ku Klux Klan. Like, instead of lynching me, you go ahead and you go blacklist me. That may not be anything to people who are not involved in this, but for someone like me, that is enough to literally make me go into a stroke or have a heart attack. It's too much. It's too much. Okay? Because I see it for what it is, what it means, okay? Now, this is a group of people who claim to be into their religion, Jehovah's Witnesses. Jehovah's Witnesses claim, racial unity and all this other stuff, but they always default to what they really are. And what they are white American citizens who are used to seeing, who believe that people of color don't have rights, okay? And they blatantly displayed this. Blacklisting me, choosing for me, making decisions that when every little child in this world has the right to have a dream, to have a goal, to have a plan, and it's their choice and how they orchestrate. It's their life. Okay, that's why people are happy to live in the United States, because we're supposed to be free, right? So I had a right to my life, to whatever I wanted to do. If I said I wanted to be a heart surgeon, even though I have no background in heart surgery, whatever, that's still my choice. Okay? You denied me something. You had no right to deny me. Okay? My fucked up perps. And do you honestly think I'm going to be the best of friends with people who want to sit here and orchestrate their shit? I don't think so. Okay? So you're going to deal with triggers. Back to this. Okay? You're going to deal with triggers based on your trauma. And it's realistic to have this sort of trauma. Okay, it's very much like somebody going to, and I will say it is very much like somebody going to battle, because I felt like I was in battle for my life. You know what I mean? For issues that I don't have to justify to anybody. But their white supremacy made them feel as though they had every right to stamp out everything that I ever wanted to do in this life. Okay, but aside from that, I don't want to bring up all of that, okay? Because for the most part, I think I'm doing pretty well. Like, I feel like every day that goes by, I'm doing okay. Like, you know, there's days that my brain does take me back to it, and then I'm like, okay, go back, Maria, focus on your little art and craft or whatever it is you're doing, but do not keep going back. And there's days where I'm getting a little bit better, and there's certain days where I'm just like, oh, you know. People who have gone through human trafficking, gang stalking, what do you call it? There's another word for it. The original forms of COINTELPRO. Okay, you might want to look at that up too. People who've gone through this sort of abuse, you know, and sometimes it's endorsed, and oftentimes it's endorsed by people who don't necessarily know what the laws are, and they inadvertently allow or turn a blind eye to this sort of stuff. But it is illegal for a reason. It is written into employment law for a reason. People have committed suicide after having to deal with this sort of shit. Okay, do you know what you fucking denied me? You denied me a right to my life. Coming in, you know, I didn't want that. And it was a fucking game, like you threw my life up in the air like it was a fucking goddamn game. And the very fact that I gave birth to my son, okay, which you sit here while I'm trying to raise this child, right? You're sitting here fucking my shit up. And what you think that's fucking funny? To me, these people are maniacs. Especially since you add the religious aspect to it, and they're complete fucking hypocrites. Okay? I don't want to remember them. If I see them, I might kill over of a heart attack. Or I'm going to go into some other sort of response, which may not be good. I don't want to see these fucking people. Hear them, be reminded of them, whatever. Okay, so this is one of the issues, and I'm very angry that some sort of like rumor could have been swarming around town that I was interested in going back with that man. Okay, don't fucking like try to feed your ego into making up that fucking story. Okay, now there's a lot of people that would believe that because they think, oh, black women, they just want white men all the time. No, we don't. Okay, there's some good-looking fucking white men. I'm going to tell you, there are some very fucking good-looking white men, okay? But if anybody puts up with any form of abuse, for what reason? You know what I mean? When we talk about what might be sexually appealing to each person or whatever, people have their little preferences and whatever. But the fact of the matter is, that doesn't motivate me. If I was going to be basing everything off my sexual preference, I mean, you know, that doesn't make any sense. But it does just for some people. You know what I mean? They think that black people are willing to just do anything just to have a white man, and you're wrong. Abuse is abuse, okay? And I'm not looking for status or power or anything like that. As a matter of fact, see, now this is where the funny thing about this is my interest in Jehovah's Witnesses as it is in my youth. I like the fact that Jehovah's Witnesses, now I'm not a Jehovah's Witness, that's an adult, but when I was young, I knew that I wanted nothing to do with politics. That I felt as though it was a two-sided game that was meant to just trick everyone and just leads to some sort of like, to me, I understand we have to have government things. Some people have to govern this world, okay? But I do not want to be a part of it, okay? Because these people who are in front of this world, or presidents, whatever, people who have control, or people who think they have control, whatever. You know, I believe that these people are not really, and they are human. They're capable of errors and making wrong decisions and whatever. They're not infallible, right? But there are some people who have a lot of faith in them, and they vote and all this other stuff. I never wanted to vote, never cast a vote, will never cast a vote. Now, this is me on my channel talking about this. So I personally thought, okay, the Jehovah's Witnesses, this is something I like about these people. Now, when I think about this man's family, he does not fit in the line of the doctrines of the ideals that Jehovah's Witnesses are supposed to. If these people have any sort of political clout or power, and they're powerful enough to do what they just fucking goddamn did, let me tell you, there's no way in the world you could actually tell me that you are a truly devout Jehovah's Witness. Okay? Because Jehovah's Witnesses don't do that sort of stuff. At all. Okay? Now, what I experienced from this particular family, I feel it is morbid. It caused me emotional disturbance. Because it, to me, is no different than somebody fucking setting a fucking cross on my front yard and lighting it ablaze. That's how I see it. So no, I don't see it as, oh, we were just kidding for fucking 10, 15, 20 fucking goddamn years, throwing me out of jobs and trying to make me bend to your fucking whims. Fuck you. Is basically what I have to say about that. And does that mean that I'm going to get punished or you're going to fucking fuck my shit up? Well, then you know what? Then do that. But you know, you're the one who's responsible for fucking killing me. That's how I feel. So yeah, I'm a little triggered today. Just a little bit, you know. And I don't want to be that way. So I'm trying to enjoy my weekend. You know, I do have a little work to do that I choose to take upon myself because I like to work. I do. And I try to keep myself busy on those things. And I also feel like, you know, why have extra time on your hands? And yes, I do my arts and crafts, and I don't want to change my life for anyone. And if you don't think that I'm mature enough, that's your choice, you know, but this is my life. You know what I mean? I don't go around like, you know, advertising my beliefs or telling people how I view things other than on my channel. Okay. Because the reason why I'm being persecuted is because I'm different, because I'm a black woman, because I don't want your fucking white son, because, you know, for whatever the reason, whatever, okay, because I have alternative spiritual beliefs, blah, blah. The list goes on and on and on and on and on and on, but I have the right to live. You know what I mean? I have a right to exist as I am right now, okay? And yes, this is what it comes down to. I believe in my lifestyle so much for I'm willing to goddamn die for it. I love my life the way that it is. I don't want to be a fucking Jehovah's Witness. Okay. I don't want to fucking, like, you know, tell me how to wear my fucking hair. You know, black women have enough problems. Okay. Here's the problem. If we used to wear our hair natural in the workplace, and then guess what? People were sitting here telling us, go comb our hair. This is how our hair looks. Okay. So then when you try to find another alternative, guess what? There's always something else to bitch about. I don't fucking talk about my hair. Don't tell me which fucking hairstyles you like best on me. I don't want to fucking hear it. Okay, I chose to live my life the way that I chose to live my life. I don't care what my mom says. I don't care what my dad says. I don't care what they envisioned for me. I don't know. My parents were just as ignorant. They were learning. I will say my dad learned more because he had more of an education. Okay, but they were still in a process of evolving and trying to adapt to this world that was around them. Okay, so they didn't make very good choices. Okay, but I am able to see and look at what other people do, and I know that I don't fucking want it. No matter how normal and common and if, you know, socially acceptable it is. If I was dying to be socially accepted, boy, I would be going so far. I would be completely, like, doing a complete 180. Like, I wouldn't even be who I am. This is who I am. I don't want to be a fucking part of anything other than what I believe in. And what I believe in is obviously something that must threaten these people because they fucking wanted basically to kill me by blacklisting me or reducing me to somebody who has no fucking rights by being I'm a victim of human trafficking. So you might be friends with these people, okay? And your perception of these people is going to be completely different than mine. To me, these people are goddamn terrorists. They're basically trying to murder me, and I'm not going to be comfortable with that. You see, this is one of the reasons why it's very difficult for targets to recover, because it's constant back and forth trauma over and over and over again. You know what I mean? It's hard. And I stand up every fucking day and do my best to get over it. Okay. I don't know if any of you are familiar with post-traumatic stress disorder, but a lot of people who've gone to war, deal with post-traumatic stress disorder. You're probably saying, well, how do you know how you have post-traumatic stress disorder, Maria? You haven't even been formally diagnosed. I can tell. Okay? You can see it in my fucking face. You can see it in the way that I behave. I'm fucking traumatized. Okay? But I get up every day and I go back and I try to do what I need to do in this world, in this life, as I'm living. You know what I mean? I don't make excuses for fucking whatever. Yeah, these people did some fucked up shit. There's a lot of people in this situation who would have killed themselves. Okay? You basically dangled my life and you think it's fucking funny. You have the right to do that. It's not fucking funny. Okay? It's not. And it really, I personally think that you guys should all be fucking lined up in front of a firing squad and every fucking single last one of you be shot to death. And don't think I fucking cry either. Guess what? I would be fucking happy, especially if they publicized that shit so I had confirmation that you were fucking gone forever. Because God knows it would bring so much peace to my soul. Now, yeah, we do. We go through triggers and we need to learn how to, for the people, the targets who have gone through it and who are getting up every day to go to work and try to carry on. And this is what you need to do as a target individual. I know you're going to deal with their envious, petty bullshit. They're going to sit here and try to put up things in front of you. So you'll change your ways. So you'll modify your behavior. You have the right to be who you are. What they are is they're envious of who you are, what you have, and what you do. Okay? And you are not doing what you're doing to try to flaunt it in their face. You're trying to live your life to the best of you possibly can, to the best of your ability. Okay? Now, maybe they have different morals and different goals than you, but these are my goals. Okay? And they're good enough to fight and die for. Okay? There is not much to this world. So there's not much. When I think of how the world is, there is absolutely relationships most of the time are based on dependency, whether that be platonic or romantic or whatever. Mother, child, whatever. Family ties, whatever. Most people are leeches to one another. Okay? I choose another path. I believe in serving ourselves first. If that sounds really scary to you, well, that's too bad. But you know what? Legally, I have the right to believe that. Do I believe in God and all that? Obviously do. I spend hours upon hours upon hours in meditation and connection. This is how I know so much. You know? This is my life. I'm an open vessel for this shit. For this like stuff that comes around me. I know things that a lot of people don't know because of that. Okay? So, and I'm comfortable with who I am. You know what I mean? This is the sort of stuff I like to do. And I don't feel bad about not being married. And I don't. Some people think, well, don't you feel like don't you get lonely at night? Don't you, whatever? Sometimes I get lonely for a good friend. Someone that I can actually have a conversation with that I know or could feel like they're not going to go and repeat this back to some fucking goddamn racist monsters. So then they can somehow like retaliate against me for some bullshit that I don't even have to justify myself for. I don't have anyone I can trust. And that sucks. And that's one of the reasons why, I think it's good for targets to turn into my channel and other targeted individual channels so that they get the sort of discussions and the issues that we go through as somebody who's dealt with trauma. And some people say, well, if you went so much trauma, why don't you go get... The psychiatric places are filled with perps. And part of the perps, they would love to have you fucking hospitalized. So they can have you killed, basically. I don't trust these people. That's how I feel about them. If you're low enough to deny a person their choices in life, you're a goddamn evil. You are no different to me than the Ku Klux Klan. Don't say that you're not. So if people think this is funny or it's a game or that I would be interested in sleeping or sacking up in bed with a man who's fucking basically bullying me for reasons I don't fucking know, you're out of your mind. And it's not funny and it's not cute. That's just how I feel. You know what I mean? So anyway, every day is a new day, I had to talk about the trigger issue because it's important. You know what I mean? It's important to release those things that get on your mind because, not every time somebody talks to you, it's going to be an issue of them spouting off for on behalf of the perps, okay? But you never know, and that's sad. I mean, you don't know. You never do know, okay? I go into this my new life, and I don't really think about that very much. Unless, of course, when people talk about you and they're saying that you need to correct something, and then instead of correct something, they don't tell you, they talk about it among themselves. Then it's kind of like, okay, well, then let's talk about this and I think I need to tell you why I feel this way. You know what I mean? Why do I feel this way? I like people to be upfront with me. You know what I mean? And because when you are dealing with targeting, there's a lot of he said, she said, and they don't even, I can tell you based on these videos that I've made and my experience from being in a toxic work environment, or just in any environment where those fucked up perps had any kind of control or anything they had to do with, right? It is not difficult for you to make a person turn against another person for any reason. For any reason. They could just make it up. If this particular clan or group of people who is perpetrating, like in this case, it was my son's family's whatever. It was one of my exes, whatever, okay? In this case, let's just say, for example, they're in this, I would say they're in a powerful position. If you have the ability to maneuver, choose a person's job, people believe you, you seem credible in the eyes of other people, even though you're a fucking goddamn criminal. If they have these sort of social ease, okay, this sort of clout among people, okay, that means that they have a certain form of social power, okay? And even though these people who have social power have a lot of participation and everything, that doesn't mean that means they're corrupt, is basically what it means. This sort of corruption goes on all the time, and I believe that these people are corrupt. And I don't want to put myself in a situation where I'm always having to, worry about that. Am I going to get another trigger? If somebody's gonna, and triggers happen. They do. They happen. And this is one of the reasons why in these moments when they do happen, you need to be ready to talk a little bit. You can't go into all of it. Just say, hey, because some people, you're going to talk about human trafficking, right? And they automatically think, well, that means carting somebody over the borders. That is a form of human trafficking, but most human trafficking gets played out right in front of your fucking face. Okay, it's the adult that has another adult. Like, for example, they might be a family member, might be exploiting somebody, whether that be emotionally, financially, or whatever. Okay, and they might, for example, make this person work certain jobs that they don't want to work at. They might say, hey, you know what? We have this side apartment on our house. Okay. You can rent that place, okay, but give us your passport, give you all of these sort of things so they can have control over you. So you don't have another place to even look to go rent because they're the only option. You don't have your identification. I think you see what I'm saying. They do this to gain control over another human being, okay? Some people do it because whatever, okay? In this case, this was a hate crime, plain and simple, okay? So when I think about the participation and how these people are viewed as good people, okay, and I'm just sitting here like I didn't do shit, like I was literally minding my own business. These people came in and then caused all this problem, which went on a very long period of time, had the ability and the social power to stop it just like that, and they continue to do it. Okay, you're an abuser. I'm disturbed by it, okay? And so when you see people who want to participate and do a little of their little fun stuff and be a part of and play some of their little bullshit games and their schemes, it causes a problem. You know what I mean? I don't want to deal with it. You know what I mean? I don't deserve it. I didn't ask for it. So it makes you wonder how fucked up a person can be for siding with these motherfuckers in the first place. So you have to have your guards up. I don't trust anybody. That's just how it is. I've dealt with stuff, and I think the majority of people who support these people know deep down inside that they're wrong. But like I said, people care about political clout, social clout, or whatever, so they'll back these fucking people. That's the fucking way it is. You know what I mean? I've done nothing wrong. Don't try to make me feel bad because I like wearing earrings every once in a while. I'm trying to live my fucking life. People are, it's not worth it to me to devote my life to people. It's more important for me to devote my life to myself. That's my form of spirituality. My spirituality is all about self-centeredness. It is not about arrogance. It's about being realistic. Okay? The next door neighbor or the guy across the street or whoever, I don't even know who my neighbors are, okay? But this is just like figuratively speaking. Hi, bye. I wish this person well, but at the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, we only have one person. Who's that? Who? Me. I understand that. I've seen family members turn on family members, so-called friends for, longer than 2 decades, be so-called good friends, right? And they turn on these people all because they think that somebody has something that they don't want or whatever. Okay? Most friendships are shallow. Okay, they're your lunch buddies, the people you go out to lunch with. Okay, just because you enjoyed a bucket of French fries together doesn't mean that this person doesn't fucking secretly hate you or envy you or try to make you less of what the person that you are because they're envious of you. And I'm going to tell you what, some of these people, they normalize these sort of friendships, and I'm going to tell you right now, it's insane to do that. They're basically telling you, I don't want you to reach your goals. Because when you reach your goals, then that makes me feel bad. So I need you to stay down here forever because I hate myself that much. Okay, and I want you to hate yourself that much. So you're my friend. No, they're not your friend. Okay? I take this shit so deeply, I will walk right out of somebody's life. Whereas most people are like, well, I feel like I should keep the bond. The bond should still be there. I'm going to tell you what, I'm not going to tell you what, but I'm going to ask you, why would you do that? Some of these people are in a repetitive cycle of like, they have these fucked up friends that do shit, the craziest stuff for them, but they still go to lunch with them. They still talk to them. Hey, I understand. I believe in cutting people off. That's just the fucking way it is. You know what I mean? I understand there's sometimes you have to cooperate. Sometimes people do something that's wrong. Yes, I do believe in forgiveness. Okay, somebody backs into my car on accident. All right, somebody made an error on something of mine and they fixed it and then we walked on. And I'm not going to sit here and think, well, she did this. I'm not going to think that. Okay, but when somebody deliberately and did it in a way that they wanted to send a message. Okay? And this didn't last for like maybe a day or something. This went on not for weeks, not for months. This went on for years, decades. Okay? Knowing I was traumatized, knowing it was disturbing to me. They enjoyed this sort of suffering. It was malicious and it was very twisted. Okay? And no, I don't forgive it. I don't want to see these people. People can think whatever they want to think and I can easily become an enemy to people just because, well, hey, they're friends with these people. And remember, you're taking it too far. You're taking it too far. Oh, no, I'm not taking it too far. When you wake up in cold sweats all the time because you're terrified of somebody who did this to you, who thought they felt like they had a right to do it to you, that's traumatizing. And not even just from a racial standpoint. Does anybody like anybody controlling their life and acting like I'm rebellious? I'm not rebellious. This is the only life I want to live. I'm proud of who I am. My spirituality is different than the majority of people. But like I said, I have the right to practice it. Believe it. You know what I mean? I wish I would have had the chance to meet the right people and put together works and stuff like that and do that kind of cool stuff. And hopefully, I don't know, that would be cool. You know what I mean? Because I do believe in certain things. They're my principles. That's why I'm willing to die for it. Some people are like, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and try to change her, modify her habit. I'm going to put like massive pressure on her, throw her out of a job, make it so she can't get another job. Well, then I guess I'm going to die then. And you will have blood on your fucking hands. And I want everybody to know it. I refuse to be somebody's fucking bitch in this world. Okay, I'm a defiant person, and sometimes I can be downright militant if I have to, and I don't like to be that way. You know what I mean? I have this I think I have a sweet, charming demeanor to me. I'm smiling. I'm like a Black Mary Poppins. I'm just like, But when you press my buttons, and I don't want people pressing my buttons, you know what I mean? Especially in the way that these people press my buttons. You know, the dangers about people, and I would never do this, and I wouldn't do it because I would never want to hurt myself. But I do understand how people can lose it to that point. You know what I mean? You're playing with somebody's life here, and it's not funny. It's not funny at all. You know. So anyway, back to the trigger thing. Back to the trigger thing. Let's, you're gonna have to. We are gonna have to develop skills, okay? Because this is new. There are a lot of, like I said, a lot of people who are targeted never return back to the workplace. Okay, some people get out on permanent disability. They can't even wake up in the morning. I mean, it's not a joke. Okay, I mean, I really do encourage people to look up this information if you have never really heard about it. Okay, but it's important to know. Okay, it affects people's lives. Okay, just like somebody who went to war, and it is like going to war. You're basically saying, I have the right to have a job too, and somebody say, ha ha, no you don't, I'm going to strike you down and whatever. Just like people who are trying to assert their rights to live, I'm trying to assert my life to live, without somebody threatening me. You sorry, I cannot have a job. Okay, and I know you're sitting here bringing up this whole issue. Well, we were just concerned about your education and all this. You were so concerned about my fucking education. At what point? Okay, you were just being nosy. You feared me having some sort of people are so wrapped up into this fucking goddamn bachelor's degree thing. Okay, I know a bunch of bachelor people who hold bachelor's degrees. They're fucking idiots. I don't even have a conversation. They can't even hold a conversation. Okay, it is that simple. What they were concerned about, and I know, I think when you get to be in your 20s and mid 30s, people want to start developing themselves to where they feel like they're going to have some sort of you know, prestige, maybe. Some people seek prestige, okay? And I think we're taught to seek prestige, okay? But my spirituality, I do have this topic that I want to talk about prestige, okay? And what it is and why I believe it's a life trap danger, okay? I believe that people should be happy within themselves. I strong believe. I think a lot of the ideals that we chase after have been thrown out to us as some sort of sick joke that some sort of spiritual entity, can look down on us and laugh that we would be so dumb to fall for what we're doing. I do really feel that way. I think there's a lot of things that we're encouraged to do in our life that end up destroying us, in the end. You know what I mean? So I believe in like listening from within, whatever it is that comes from my mind, heart, however these messages flow. This is how I choose to live my life. Okay, long story. Anyway, getting off because I really don't get a chance to get on my laptop and make videos as much as I used to, and so when I get the opportunity to talk, I just kind of talk. But I don't believe in the way that most people live, and I don't and I recognize gang stalking as a crime. Okay, and I do see it as a racial issue. I guess some people call it the new term for that is now Karens, which I think is kind of silly, but they always come up with these new terms, okay, whatever. But these people are basically Karens, extreme, okay. Karen and Ken, I guess that's what you can call them. This group of people. Man, I'm thirsty. It's crazy, but I don't like to bring up race, but I cannot deny the tones of racism, the smacks of racism in this issue. And I can bring up certain issues that came up to where it just points to it more and more and more and more and more. And I would like to say on a side note, I never made an effort. If my perps are listening, I never made an effort to communicate any further with you. I did not consider my son as a part of your clan. He has my last name. If he chooses to have a relationship with you as an adult, he is welcome to do that. He doesn't have to ask my permission. I don't know what kind of background you come from where everyone asks each other permission or whatever. Maybe that's your choice, but that's not my thing. My son is free. He's free as a bird, and stay the fuck out of making decisions for him. He has the right to live his life how he wants to. don't fucking make an issue of that. Don't fucking ruin the years, as many years of his life as you did mine. Okay, but I I just want us to figure out, coping mechanisms, coping skills, because we are the rare few who are able to deal with this. Okay, this is not like just a little workplace bullying here and there, and then you go on to the next job. Those situations happen, okay, and the difference between those situations, those workplace bullying jobs, and it's just workplace bullying. It's nothing. It's something that just got a little out of hand at the workplace. Somebody kind of got a big ego and started kind of messing with this one particular person. Those issues happen, okay, and the person usually moves on, okay. They will still be a little bit traumatized because still you're talking about somebody's job, okay, but this is different. They didn't not only orchestrate my job, they were controlling it, then trying to make me bend to their will so I can get something that is rightfully mine based on the states of this law. Okay, this are laws. That, like, why are you doing this? That's traumatizing, right? So, anyway, I think I'm gonna wrap up this video because I'm getting really tired, and I kind of got off this subject, and it's much better for me to write out these things, but I was just wanting to let out my feelings about the trigger before I started the weekend, and it's very therapeutic, and I really do encourage targeted individuals to make their videos, to talk about these issues that go on in their life, these triggers that happen, flashbacks. Sometimes you're going to have dreams. Sometimes you're going to have, and then we also have to deal with the fact that how careful we have to be and how it changes our life. It changes our life in ways where we don't feel comfortable with people anymore because you never know who you're dealing with. You know what I mean? And it's sad. It's very sad. It will deprive you of those pleasures in life. Okay, and so my answer to that would be is then find other pleasures to indulge in and don't feel guilty about them. I don't feel guilty about me being 51 years old and maybe wearing earrings that have little cats on them for a day. Okay, why? I don't. I think that there's a lot I want to talk about when it comes to being young at heart, and that does not mean that you're immature. It means just that you're young at heart. You know what I mean? I also want to talk a little bit more in some of my videos about how, this actor age bullshit. This actor age bullshit. I don't believe in the ideals of maturity. And I will talk about that later. I think as long as a person is old enough to respect themselves, respect the property and rights of another human being, okay? Know, of course, that if you are responsible for a child, then obviously you have a responsibility to keep a roof over their head and provide for them if you gave birth to that child. Those things I do understand. I think that's good enough. I think if I think that is, I think those things are good enough to get by in this world. You know what I mean? If does that mean that I'm supposed to pack on 20 pounds so that I can be better friends with people who secretly hate me because I'm not even thin really, but because I have a decent size weight? Is that what it is? I don't, and I'm not cutting that people down like that, okay? But at the same time, it is bullying, and I'm not going to feel guilty about practicing my ideals. Why? Because they give me a sense of pleasure or joy. This is how I like to live my life. You know what I mean? I like going into my closet and picking out what I want to wear. I love clothes. You know what I mean? And how demoralizing and demeaning it is for somebody to have to even express that. To tell them, hey, this is what I'm into, so you can just leave me the fuck alone. Please leave me the fuck alone. And it certainly had nothing to do with Bruce. You know what I mean? If I was really hot to trot for Bruce, I think I would be like heading up to San Francisco instead of sitting here in Bakersfield where he doesn't reside. You know what I mean? That doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And I certainly, sure as hell, wouldn't want him now. I mean, look at that's insane. I'm angry that I got brought into all of this. you know? And then you act like you're such fucking holy people, and or at least not holy, but I'm just saying is, oh, we're Jehovah's Witnesses. You need to convert to our religion. Why? What is your moral lesson? Are you trying to teach me a moral lesson after you fucking denied me my fucking goddamn rights? You know, exploited me in many fucking ways, and then I'm supposed to convert to your way of life because what, I'm going to be a person with higher moral standards. Oh, because God's going to have mercy on your fucking ass and not mine because you go around bullying people. Oh, that's right. It's because I had a child out of wedlock, okay? But it doesn't take two to tango. It's not like how did I give birth to anybody without that sort of help? You know, it's like that's a part of my life that I just want to get over for good. I don't want to dredge it up all the time. And I don't want people expecting me to forgive the people who basically put a fucking stake in my front yard and like lit it ablaze. Forgive that. No. Forgive somebody who basically denied me my rights. Can you give me my fucking almost close to 30 years back? Can you? No, I didn't think so either. So don't expect me to forgive you. And if your religion teaches you to forgive, that's your choice. You have the right to practice it. I don't believe in forgiveness. You're allowing yourself to be a doormat for somebody else. Over and over and over and again. And the people who made up that fucking doctrine just want to fucking control you. And it's obvious. You gain nothing from forgiveness. And some people say, oh, forgiveness is for you, not for them. Oh, that's what therapy's for, okay? You're not forgiving yourself. You have to acknowledge when you've been treated like shit so it doesn't happen again. And like I said, I'm saying this on my channel, which I have a right to do. So anyway, I think I've said enough. The moral of the story is that we're going to have to deal with a lot in our life, okay? It didn't just stop at the targeting. It didn't just stop when, and it's going to happen at times. There's going to be things that are going to happen that's going to remind you of it, and you just have to find something, but express it. Just say, you know what? If somebody says something, you know what? I dealt with something one time, and I just want to make sure that this has nothing to do with whatever happened. And if it is, that at least lets people know, you know what, let's just handle the situation at hand and let's not get into drama, biased drama, because I certainly don't have time for it. So anyway, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm finally going to start my weekend. And after I listen to this video, and I do some video editing every once in a while, but I'm not really good at it. Of course, it depends on what programs I'm using. I'm not as savvy as I want to, but I know there's so many projects that I still want to do, and I'm starting to get myself feeling better. I want to finish the first video that I made, and I keep saying, okay, because I just thought about that a few days ago. I'm like, I really want to finish that video. Yeah, I want to pick up where I left off in life. You know what I mean? Today I'm having somewhat of one of those weird days, but I'll be better. Overall, I would say that my mood has been getting a little better. I still go through those trauma times. I still go through my little therapy sessions that I have here in my home. I turn on a recorder and I start talking into it. Sometimes I keep thinking, if this is good enough, I'll make a video, but whatever. But I do this for I need that sort of release. And maybe that might be something you might want to incorporate, making videos, talking to other targeted individuals, or at least making recordings of your voice. And then if they sound good and maybe you're making some points or you want to think it's important to share, you can post that too. You got to find ways to release and talk about what you're going through, because it is not normal. We have become very disturbed individuals because of something that happened to us, and there's nothing to be ashamed of. So anyway, gonna wrap up this video. Have a wonderful weekend. Bye bye. Take care.